take your consent and start the recording for today. All right. So we are starting with what we have to do today. Let me see if I can retrieve the topics for this week. We have a lot to do, much lots. Can your machine take you long? About 2 hours. Hello.
Charlie, my battery's point. I don't buy a different one yet, so.
Okay, so now we are looking at referencing and lookups.
And I don't think.
Data aggregation and data visualization, right, or storytelling.
Okay.
So these are the 3 important things we are to look at today. So from the referencing, we are going to continue on from where we ended. Did you join on Wednesday? Ima, did you join on Wednesday?
I joined, but I wasn't using my machine, but I still joined. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
yes,
okay.
I was part of the Wednesday, the early one.
The early one, okay. Yeah. All right. So on Wednesday, this is what we look at. We look at the VLOOKUP, the H,
The network is bad.
and the S lookup, right? Hello. Can you hear me clear now? Can you hear me clear now? Is it okay now?
Network so bad.
Oh. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
All right. So.
Yeah, it's okay right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's.
All right. So let's look at when to use the VLOOKUP, when to use the H lookup, and where to use the S lookup. So we use the VLOOKUP when we have our table in a structured format. For a practical example is what we have here, right? You can see that we have first column in vertical here, second column, third column, and the fourth column. So when you are given a table like this, and you want to look at the corresponding information for column C from column F, that's when we use the vertical lookup. But in using the vertical lookup, you have to include all the table fields. You have to include all the table fields. So what I'm trying to say is that if you want to retrieve information from F, right, you must add all the table fields from D, E before you can access information from F. So this makes the VLOOKUP problematic, right? Problematic. Or in most cases, you are going to get more issues with the VLOOKUP. Should in case column D or column E has an issue with the data types or the data format. So when do we also use the H lookup? We use the H lookup when our table is in horizontal form, right? Horizontal form. So when it is in horizontal form, let's copy this one and try and come to paste. Now paste here and look for transpose. Coming on. I want to transpose it here. From there's a function here. Oh, why is the data giving me an issue? Oh, I'm coming. Okay, so this is that's what I'm looking for, right? So when you want to transpose a data, oh, why? You come to the paste, you select this option, right? I don't know why it's not transposing. So this will transpose our data for us. So I think there is issue with the data, right? There's issue with the data. So this should have transposed our data. So in our training, I'll try and copy one data and work on it. So this would have given us this data in horizontal form, right? So we can use our H lookup over here. And the H lookup too, the problem is the same, right? The problem is the same because you can't skip one cell to the other. That's why the S lookup tool is there. So the S lookup works by integrating the V and the H lookup together. So now with the S lookup, if instead of looking for corresponding information from F, we don't need to include column E or column D, right? You just pick your S lookup. I think that's what we've not worked on. You just pick your S lookup. So with your S lookup, you just pick your lookup value, right? So I'm looking up for this value, right? So with your comma, now the lookup array over here is asking you from which range are you picking the information from? And I'm picking the information from this range. Please don't include the header, right? Don't include the header. So from this range. That's why I always say, whenever you are working with the data, the first thing to do is to convert your data into a table, right? So you have your the range where you want to pick your lookup value from. Now, where do you want to pick the corresponding value from, right? I want to pick the corresponding value from the salary column. So I want to know the salary for this employee ID, right? And this one is giving me this because there might be an issue with the data format, right? So let me use the S lookup again. This data seems there is more issue with the data format. So the software engineer, let me first convert everything into a table in order not to complicate our training. So first thing I always advise is to convert your table into your data into a table like this. So your S lookup. So the software engineer and comma. I want to know. Oh no. Oh yes. So the software engineer, the column range, and now I want to know his salary, right? Over here. So this is it, right? So there is an issue with some of the data types of this data. So it needs a thorough cleaning, right? Now we have his salary over here. So this is why you always need to understand your data and know which referencing or lookup you are going for, either V, H, or S. If you have any question with this, you can let me know so we can continue from here.
Please, can you go do it again for me to see the X lookup?
All right, so now I'm repeating it again. I said we employ the S lookup, right? When you realize that you need a corresponding value for a particular lookup value from a different range, right? So now the software engineer over here, I want to know his salary, but I don't need anything from the employee team, right? I don't want to know either he's engineer or production. He's in the production team. So this is how we use the S lookup. Please, if it's your first time, when you are using the S lookup, I'm going to explain the function. You first type your function. So when you do, you pick the particular value, right? Either qualitative or quantitative. I'm using a term over here, either an int or string data type. So if I say an int, I mean quantitative. An int means this, right? Quantitative.
Okay.
And string, SREIG, is a quantitative data, right? So now we want to know the salary for this engineer. But we don't want to use the VLOOKUP. We are using SLOOKUP. So this is how we go about it. We first pick the value, right, which becomes our criteria. We first pick that value, which becomes our criteria. That's lookup value. And the next thing to do is lookup array. It is asking us that from which column do you want to pick that information from, that value from, right? We are picking it from the same range. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Okay.
All right. Now, the next do is return array. So now, what should I give? What do you need? What should I give it to you? What should I provide as a feedback? Please, do you understand that? So in this case, we are going to look for corresponding value, right? The corresponding value is what we are looking for. So if we have our comma here, then we are looking for his salary, right? So you just pick the entire salary range, right? And you press enter. This is going to return the exact corresponding value for you without using the true false match statement that we use in VLOOKUP. You understand it?
So my question is,
Okay.
you chose software engineer.
Yes.
Engineer.
Yes.
But we have a software engineer in it. But why did they choose to pick only one out of maybe I think there are 5 or 6?
Okay.
Because it's
all right.
specified.
So now we have their names over here, right? We have the employee's name over here, and we have their code, employee codes over here, right? So always it's either you're going to use the employee code, or maybe if it's student data, you're going to use the index number, right? So I was using this just for an example, so we can use their name, so we can be specific about what we are looking for.
Okay.
Is that clear? So quickly, right now, let's do it for John. Do it for me as I compute the values for you. So this is my X lookup. So now, when do I need to use the X lookup? Hello, when?
That would be D-A-B.
What's it? Hello, do you understand what I'm asking for? So now, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, so we want to know the salary for John, right? Using the S lookup. Why are we using the S lookup? We are using the S lookup because we just want to return a value for John, right? We don't need match in the table. So we are not using VLOOKUP where it will take a configuration from from the entire table, right? So we just select John, and now over here it is asking for lookup array, right? So we pick the range where our lookup value is found. You understand that? So the next thing is our comma, and it is asking for, okay, now you've selected John. You've given me the place where I can look, I can see John, or I can search for John, right? Where should I locate the information you are looking for? Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So, no, just skip his code. Skip his designation, skip his team, right? Let me know his salary and let me go my way. You understand? Okay. So I'll just close
Okay.
it and I'll come here, right? Now over here, I think that okay, this one is picking this one. I'm coming. Where is it? There's it.
Selected the topic as well.
No, this one. There's it.
Ah, okay.
Right. So now the salary is here. Right. So we can say John's salary, right? If we are to do
Salary.
any serious analysis, right? So we can say John's salary. And we will color it nicely. You understand that?
Yeah.
You understand it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, please. So so you continue. If you have any question, you can ask. And you can ask any question.
Well, let's continue.
Okay, all right. I'll do some copy. So now, once this one is done, we are going to look at data aggregation and discrete statistics. Please a minute. Hello. Hello. Yeah, hello. All right, so now we are going to look at data aggregation and descriptive statistics, right, as part of this week's topics. So we are going to use a data set here. So with data aggregation and descriptive statistics, we are looking at how to summarize large data sets, right, to make informed decisions.
There's a big
What is it?
line, so that
should I repeat it again? Hello? Hello?
yes, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So we are looking at we are looking at data aggregation, right? Data aggregation.
Okay.
And data aggregation, either descriptive statistics or pivot tables, right? Pivot.
Okay.
Let's just make it data aggregation and pivot tables. Data aggregation simply, right, means putting something together. To aggregate means putting something together, right? And the discrete statistics that I have omitted is basically summarizing a data, right? Summarizing a data, making a large data simple, short, concise, or whatever you call it. So the discrete stats. And pivot tables. And pivot table is a function of how to summarize data in Excel. Please, is the understanding clear?
Yeah.
All right. So when we are given a data like this and we are asked to analyze, right? Maybe the person wants to know the unit cost, the some unit cost and some total cost from this table. So we are looking at a list of items, and these items looks like bookshop, right?
Okay.
Grocery, is it a stationary items? And this stationary items, we are looking at the date each item was ordered, the region, right? So Central, East, West. So this is a Ghanaian data set using regions, right, for this shop. And the names of the reps from each region. The items they sold, the units they sold, cost for each, and the total for the items sold, right? So many is going to be the unit times the unit cost.
Okay.
We'll give you the total of this one. So if we are asked to analyze this data, we can simply use the our function, right? So now
Pivots.
Now, no, let's start with the function, right? Let's start with the functions,
Okay.
right? So now we are starting with the functions. What do you think? Which function do you think it will best suit this one?
The data aggregation.
Yes, please. So I
We're
think
looking for the total.
yes, please. Now we must look for the data using our what? Sum, right? So now we are using the data understanding, and after the data understanding, we do our EDA, right? Our exploratory data analysis. So to understand this data, we will use our sum function to analyze this data. So the first thing to do here is, it seems this data, this table isn't a normal table to me, right? So the first thing to do,
That doesn't seem like
a table, right? It's a design. So
yeah.
what you do, you highlight any part of the table and you press Ctrl+A, right? Because I added these ones, that's why. So, or you manually highlight everything. You manually highlight everything. Now, in order not to be in a trouble, you manually highlight everything. Then you insert a table. So you can have absolute total control, right, over your table or on your table. So now here, we are going to find the sum total of this. So sum, 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 and now we are looking at the entire column. So now this is our sum total, right? Now when we come to also look for the sum total for the unit cost, right? The unit cost, we also use the same sum function. We use the same sum function,
So
right?
I have a question with the table.
Okay, okay. So you can ask. You can ask.
So the unit, yeah, so the unit, is it not the quantity? Yeah, I said the unit, is it not the quantity against the unit price?
The unit here is indicating the number of the total number of pens that James sold here. But the unit cost,
Yeah, so
is a
we that we use the invoice, to prepare receipt.
okay.
So that place should be the quantity multiplied by the unit cost will give you the total cost.
The total cost, right? So this one is just from the
So the unit.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
This just
So we normally use the quantity, the invoice, and
okay. I'm listening to your question.
is there?
I'm listening to the question.
I said I'm suggesting,
Okay.
because if you say unit cost and units,
Okay.
so we that use the invoice. So this one is, I think it's preparing an invoice form.
Yes.
So instead of the unit means one. So I think the unit should supposed to be maybe the quantity
The quantity
against the unit cost.
unit cost will be
Yeah,
like,
the number of.
yes, please. But this is a data set, right? Generated from an organization.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the unit.
Yes, please. The unit. So well, usually, whenever you are working with the data, what you need to do first, right? Because we've already spoken about data cleaning, right? So from your data understanding, you come to your data cleaning. So you have to do renaming and changing of some part of the data, right, to suit your analysis. Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yeah. Yes.
With this one, we are just looking at data aggregation and pivot tables.
Okay.
Right. So with the headers or the headings over here, they are all subjected,
Yeah. That's what.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, to enhance your analysis and its interpretation, right? So we are just
Okay.
looking at data aggregation, right? So what we need to do to know if you are saying that these were the quantity sold, these were the quantity sold, right? Then if I multiply my quantity sold by the unit cost, I must get my sum total over here, right? And if I compute everything, I must get the sum total of the total amount of all the items sold, right? So we use the sum to achieve that. Again, we want to look further into the data, right? I don't want us to take them one after the other, right? So we will get, or we will achieve our objective of looking at descriptive statistics and pivot tables. But we will come and analyze all this data one by one, right, to enhance our analytics skills. So now, to use the pivot tables for this data aggregation, right? Now, click on any part of the data and come to pivot tables over here. Usually, you may see yourself under the home tab, right? Just click any part of the table and click on insert. Click on the pivot table and this will come, right? You could see that this has given you table 1 over here.
Okay.
So we are going back where we are not going to highlight anything from the table, right? And we see what will be the result. So over here, you could see that nothing was indicated over here, right? No range, no table name, right? So if you find yourself in a situation like this, it is going to give you a tough time and headache. So always, when you are using a pivot table to summarize your data, what you are to do is to highlight any part of the table and you click on the pivot table. Now, the pivot table will give you two options, right? It will give you a new worksheet and existing worksheet. So let's try them one after the other in order not to talk plenty or to confuse you. So the new worksheet will take us to another worksheet, right? So let's try it and see. Practically, this is how it works. So you could see that it has taken us from the first one to this. If you can realize that, right? You can realize that. Now let's go back and pick our pivot table. Now we already have one pivot table over here, right? That's why it's not giving us this. So this is what we can do. We can take this out, this pivot table out, pivot out, come back, and insert our pivot table again. Insert our pivot table again. Oh, why is this deactivated? Okay. Okay. I don't know why my pivot table is deactivated. Okay, so now
you have to restart it.
It's here, right? So now we are using the existing worksheet, right? So the existing worksheet will give us the pivot table inside the data. So you could see that the existing worksheet, it is asking for the location, right? So we just need, right? So you could see that when I click on the sheet 1, it gave me location over here. But if we put it here, it is always going to distort your data, right? So we don't integrate a pivot table in an existing sheet, right? We take it to a new worksheet. If you are curious as I am, you may ask me, what is data model over here, right? We will take it when and where we are to use the data model and we are not to use the data model, right? So if we are doing normal pivot table data aggregation like we are doing today, please always keep the data model, right? It is part.
I have a question.
Okay.
So within the pivot table, the forms or the range. So what is the purpose of the range? Because I've seen table slash range.
Okay, I'm coming. So let me. So I should take it again, right?
Yeah, so that you can.
All right. So usually, right, depending on the Excel you are using, right, and how you name your data, it will either select the range, that's the entire table range
Okay.
for you, or sometimes it may not take the ranges, it will take just the table name. Sometimes it will take how you've named the entire sheet over here, right, as sheet 1, and anything in sheet 1 over here will be captured. Please, do you understand it?
Yeah.
All right. So now we are looking at this pivot table. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you understand it. So
Yeah.
we are looking at the pivot table. We are saying that we use it to aggregate data, right? We use it to summarize data. So how do we do it? Right. So now you just click on it. You click on it like this. You already have the data labels. We will look at it. So now what we are going to do is sometimes you will come to the pivot table and we have recommended pivot tables. If you are fresher to using pivot tables, right, always try and understand the recommended ones. The recommended ones will give you a default data aggregation by the intelligence of the SL and how your data is. So over here, maybe you are first timer and you don't know, okay, this one is giving you total and units by each rep. Please, do you get me?
Okay.
So this one is telling us,
Okay.
this person sold this person sold that. Now, from the functions of SL, which function do you think we can use to achieve what we have over here? We can use some if.
Some if for the
Yeah,
new labels and the total and the units.
and the unit. And we can use either removing duplicate or the unique, right, to get the list
Yeah.
of the salespersons, right?
Yeah.
You get it right. So now the pivot
Yeah.
table is doing this magic for us. So now let's take it to new sheet, right? Let's take it to new sheet. Now we have it over here. So now without doing anything, I will explain something over here. Always our qualitative data, right? And I said the qualitative data, each data type is called a string. So our string data type always comes to the column, the row column, right? It comes to the row column or the first column. And the rest that follows becomes our values, right? Our values. So now we can add more values to this, but in this case, we only have 2 values here. So one value for column B and one value for column C. You get it. Now let's come again and look at total by rep, by region, right? This is telling us that Kofi sold this amount from that region. Please, do you get me? So
Yes.
the names over here, in central region, these are the amount each person sold, right? In eastern, in western, and the grand total for each person in these 3 regions. This when you are new to using pivot tables. Now, when we come here, we are looking at total by item and rep, right? Who sold this number of pens? How much sales did the person make, right? And it follows. Please, do you get it?
Yes.
All right. So if
I want to
okay.
So with a pivot table, is it giving us the aggregate for items like on the where the table is going to give us every details of it and the sum the sum total and any other aspect to be needed in the table, being addition or any other sales.
Yes, please. So when you are using the personalized ones, right, you always know what you are doing and you know what you are looking for. So you will engineer your analysis based on your business questions. Please, do you get me?